All right, welcome to today's webinar. We're going to be looking at mastering meta ads. And meta ads, of course, is going to be Facebook and Instagram all under the Meta umbrella. And we're going to talk about how to use this to grow your lead flow and also scale your remodeling business. And so, in our discussion today, we'll be looking at a basic understanding of meta ads as they are today. We'll talk about building an effective ad strategy. We'll talk about creating compelling ad creatives so that people respond to those ads. We'll discuss using lead generation tools and retargeting strategies. And then we'll also talk about measuring and optimizing your campaigns. And so when we look at meta ads, what we want to do today is we want to learn the proven strategies to attract homeowners, generate high quality leads, and then maximize your ROI on your marketing. And so that is what we're going to be working on today. Now, a little bit about me, why you should listen to me. My name is Carl Willis, and I am the founder and CEO of Remodeling Marketing Team. I've been marketing online since 1997. I'm the author of Internet Marketing for Home Remodeling Companies, the creator of the Marketing Classroom. I'm an international keynote speaker on business growth and lead generation, and have been widely accepted as a go-to expert in internet marketing for home remodeling businesses and work with companies across the US and also internationally. And so, what we're going to be looking at today in the concept of the marketing ecosystem is social media ads, particularly dealing with Meta. And when we're talking about this part of the ecosystem, what we're looking at is social media advertising, Facebook and Instagram primarily. And so when you think about the total ecosystem marketing pie, that's the slice we're going to be dealing with today there at number 7. And so let's talk about why you would want to choose meta ads for your business. What would be the reason for looking at using Facebook, using Instagram as your ad platform for lead generation and for growing your business? And there are really a couple of key components for doing that. Number one is realize just the enormity of the audience. There are 2.9 billion active users on Meta platforms. And one of the things that we find out about those active users is a large majority of those active users are active on a daily basis. So a lot of people are on these platforms every day. It is a great place to intersect with your target audience. And we also know that about 70% of the users who are on those platforms do interact with ads and click through to the websites. And that's one of the things we'll talk about in our presentation today is the click-through rates to websites coming from meta ads is extremely high. And because of that, meta ads actually offer one of the best cost per click rates compared to other platforms, especially compared to Google Ads. So if we're trying to drive traffic to your website, to your landing page, one of the lowest cost per clicks we're going to get is going to come through meta ads. People are very responsive on this platform. So that's one of the reasons we would want to use that as part of the advertising mix that we're going to use with your business. And so here are some reasons that you're going to want to invest in meta ads. And I want to spend a few minutes really talking about this because the thought process is a little different than traditional pay-per-click advertising. In traditional pay-per-click advertising, we are targeting based on keyword searches. So we're doing that based on the intent of the search. Whereas in social media ads and in Meta in particular, what we're doing is we are targeting based on the profile of the individual. And so, what's going to be very critical for you as a remodeler is you really need to have a good understanding of who your target customer is. So, you need to have a great understanding of who they are demographically, what their activities are, what they do for leisure, economically, who they are. All of that type of information is going to be critical because we are able to target those types of things within the Meta platform. And so we have this advanced targeting within Meta, geo targeting, homeowner profiles, economic profiles, things of that nature that allow us to really fine tune who your avatar is. And so I always like to give this example. If your, primary target audience is families with children who are in high school and they are upper middle class. They live in an upper middle class neighborhood. They have two vehicles. Both of those vehicles are financed. The kids are involved in sports. One's involved in soccer, one's involved in volleyball. They go to summer camp. Uh, now we're getting into information that can be plugged into the Meta platform, and we can really begin to target people who fit that profile. Here's the other great thing about Meta. If you already have data from previous customers, from shows where you have had a booth and you've collected email addresses or your email mailing list, or you have done a good job of collecting data of website visitors, we can also upload that data into Facebook and have data matched to the Facebook audience from your data to fine tune and even customize that targeting even better. The other thing about Facebook ads or Meta ads is you get multi-platform reach. So you're getting Facebook, you're getting Instagram, you're getting Messenger. And the other little secret is you're also getting mobile device apps. And so it is a very robust platform. It will follow the user around very effectively. And so it's extremely cost effective for local businesses. It's an amazing targeting platform if you have your targeting dialed in. And so the real key for you as the business owner is to know your audience and to know who it is you really are trying to communicate with. The worst way to use Meta ads is to throw the shotgun approach out there. I just want to throw it out in front of everybody that lives in Wichita, Kansas. That's not going to produce the best results. What you really want to do is get that economic, demographic, and activity type data plugged into this, and you're going to get a much better result from those ads. Now, let's talk about the customer journey because this is where Meta ads become extremely powerful for you is when we reverse engineer the buying process. How does somebody decide they want to do business with you? They want to hire you to undertake the remodeling project on their home. And what we want to do is we want to match up the tactics that we're using to the customer journey itself. And so when you talk about the customer journey, you always think in terms of the funnel, and you'll hear the term marketing funnel or sales funnel. And in that funnel, there are three components to that funnel. There is the awareness portion of the funnel, and that is the top of the funnel. And that is the place where a person is just starting to recognize I've got a need for remodeling services. And the truth is, they may not even really be thinking about it other than this. They've got an annoyance in their home that every now and then the thought crosses their mind, at some point I should do something about that. And in the awareness phase, what we want to do is we want to accelerate that need a little bit to get them to move into the funnel to say, you know what, I think I want to look at doing something about that finally. I want to change out the flooring in the bathroom. I want to change out the shower. I want to change out the kitchen. I'm finally tired of this. And so now we move from just this passing thought to now I'm going to start to take some action on it. I'm recognizing that there is a need to do something about this problem issue in my home, or I want to make that change. And so we've got you in the funnel. So one of the things about meta ads is there is actually an advertising campaign that we can set up that is specifically for awareness. And what it is meant to do is keep you front and center in front of that target consumer, and just to keep you at the top of their mind, to just reinforce, hey, you probably ought to do something with that bathroom or that kitchen or that deck or that patio, whatever that thing is that's been lurking around in the back of their mind for a while. We want to reinforce that. And these are great traffic drivers to a website. We love using them for that. We love using those to drive people to your Facebook page. But what we're trying to do is raise awareness. A, we want them thinking about, I should probably do something about that. And B, we want them to begin realizing that you are out there, that you are a potential solutions provider. And so they are now aware of you, and they are now also thinking about their issue. And that brings them to the next phase of the funnel. And you'll see on the funnel, I've got two layers of these next two areas because they take a little longer. The next phase is consideration. And when we deal with consideration, that means they start doing their research. They are researching contractors and they are researching services. And so in their research, they are now starting to look at your reviews. They are starting to look at pictures and videos of your work because they want to see what can you do. And they are starting to dream. So what does that bathroom look like in my house? What does that kitchen look like in my house? And are the reviews good? Do I like what I'm seeing? Do I recognize any names that are leaving reviews? That's the consideration side of the funnel. So they are now starting to narrow down who it is they might work with. And then that brings them to the decision side of the funnel. And the great thing about the consideration side, again, Meta has campaigns that are geared specifically for this consideration phase. And then we get to the decision phase, where they are actually going to choose the contractor that they have decided is the most trustworthy and that they feel the most comfortable with. And we have to remember that decisions are made first with emotion and then supported with logic. And especially when we're dealing with somebody's home, this is a very emotional decision that is going to get supported with logic. And so we're going to be dealing with the emotional triggers of trust as we're going through that funnel. Here's an interesting statistic. Approximately 70% of homeowners decide on their contractor before they ever make contact with the contractor. So the decision's already been made before they ever reach out to make that initial contact. So we're doing a lot of groundwork coming through this funnel, and that's where meta ads can be extremely valuable to you in your marketing process. So let's talk about how we lay the foundation. What does that ad strategy actually look like as you're working your way through this funnel process? Well, first of all, you want to define your goals. Are we doing lead generation? Are we doing brand awareness? Or are we doing website traffic? Because each one of those is going to have a little different flavor to it. We're going to take a little different approach to how we're going to approach the ads, the targeting, calls to action, what it is that we're going to do. So we want to define our goals. Are we just trying to generate leads? Are we trying to raise the brand awareness, stay top of mind, dominate the market, just shock and awe over our competition? Or are we trying to get a lot of traffic to the website so that we're boosting our SEO, so that we're getting people looking at our work in our showcase page, so that we're got all of our lead capture mechanisms on the site working? What is it that we're trying to do? Secondarily, we need to know the audience and we need to know them intimately. So we're targeting homeowners within a specific radius of your service area. Now, remember, with meta ads, we can actually target by zip code. That's one of the beauties of meta ads. So if you've got specific zip codes you want to work in, you can target those zip codes. And then the thing I love is this behavioral targeting. Things like recently moved or interested in DIY, home improvement, etc. Or, uh, family type things. They're empty nesters, or they are researching, aging parent type issues. So there's behavioral things you can be including into that mix that are going to help you target even better. And then when it comes to budgeting, the great thing about meta ads is you can start small. So start at $10 a day and then scale based on the performance of the ad. If it is performing well, then scale. As long as that ad continues to perform, you can continue to scale with it. And so allocate the budget between all the levels of the funnel. So allocate between awareness and retargeting campaigns. And we'll talk a little more about that here in a moment. But awareness is first and foremost. We want to let people know you're out there. We want to push people to your website. We want them looking at your work. If we're doing things correctly, your website is pixeled with Meta's conversions API tracking code. So Meta is able to know who is on the site. They can correlate that back into their data and do a better job of retargeting in your retargeting campaigns. Because what we want to do is once somebody has hit your website, they have raised their hand and said, I'm interested. And so we want to retarget. If somebody is on your mailing list, we want to retarget. They've said, I'm interested. And so we want to be very efficient in those retargeting pieces. So when we target, we want to target extremely well. And so here's the way you target like a professional. Number one, look at custom audiences. Custom audiences are your best friend in Meta today. And I'm going to give you a hint here with Meta. Meta, like everybody else, is using AI assisted techniques. Stay away from those. So if you're setting up ads in Meta, it will ask you, do you want to use Advantage plus audiences? The answer is no. In our own testing and the testing of my peers, we actually find performance drops when you use their AI specific assisted audiences. They're just not sophisticated enough right now to figure out what you need. So what you're better off to do is this, and this is the exact criteria we use. What we like to start with is custom audiences. So if you have an email list or customer database, we want to start with that. We want to upload that first, and we want Meta to match up people on that list first and foremost. We want them to collect that data because those are the people who have interacted with you. That's good data. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to create lookalike audiences. And in a lookalike audience, what we're going to tell Meta to do is to go out and target people who are similar to the custom audience we just created. Now, what Meta's going to do is Meta's going to let you put a score to that. Would you like that lookalike audience to be a lookalike audience to a number one, a number two, a number three, a number four, a number five? A number one is the tightest in proximity to your original audience. And so that's where you want to start. The further out you move to number five, the more leeway you're giving Meta to move away from the original data. So we want to keep it as close and tight to the original audience as we can. So the recommendation is start with the number one. If you're not getting the volume you need, then go ahead and expand that to a number two. but I would not go any further than that, because what you'll find is it'll start to get off of the intended target audience, and you'll start to get some garbage leads coming in based on that. And then you really want to focus on the interest-based targeting. Now, that could be home improvement, that could be DIY or related behaviors. I also like to categorize things like home equity loans, home equity lines of credit, because we know those people are homeowners. DIY people, we don't always know if they own their home. Home improvement, they could be people that want to do it all themselves. And so we don't want to load you up with people that are more than happy just to go to Lowe's and do it themselves. So I really kind of like to go after people who are taking out equity lines, those kinds of things. I will still target these other terms, but my little golden nugget is the people who are taking out those second mortgages, those equity lines, because they're tapping into their equity for a reason. So that's somebody to look at. And then the pro tip here is to use the geo targeting to advertise to homeowners in specific neighborhoods and zip codes. And I really like using zip codes. So figure out your most profitable zip codes. And you'll hear me say this quite a bit. Figure out your most profitable customer type. So what do they look like? What's the profile of that customer type? Who's going to spend the most money with you? And then where do those people live? And combine those two things together in your targeting, and you're going to have a very, very powerful targeting mix in your meta ads. Now, create ads that homeowners simply can't ignore. And this is critical because Meta is a very visual medium. And so if you bore the audience to death, they're simply going to skip your ads and move on to something else. And so you want ads that are going to stop the scroll. And that's what you have to think about. Stopping the scroll. I've got to get you to pause long enough to get your attention, to get you to do something with this ad. And so you want to create some visuals that get people to stop. And so a couple things you can do is you can use before and after photos of remodeling projects. Those are always good. A really terrible before photo and a really stunning after photo works well. Video walkthroughs of completed jobs are great. Motion stops the scroll. But I also like, I call them the dream look here. So this is Wichita Homeworks. They do a good job of scroll stopping imagery. They always make sure it's well lit. They frame it up well. This is one of those that gets people to stop the scroll. So Susie's at the ball game with her kids. She's looking at stuff and she stops and goes, "Man, I'd love to have that soaker tub." That's the kind of ad we want to create. And we keep them simple. Like these have the website address right here at the top. It's got the phone number at the top, along with the get a quote button. So there's lots of calls to action on there. And then compelling copy. So there's several ways to tackle this. Um, Focus on benefits, transform your kitchen in just 3 weeks, or put those emotional triggers in there. Turn your dream bathroom into reality. The headline we have in this ad, ready to give your bathroom a makeover. And then your call to action. Get your free estimate today, or get your estimate today, or schedule your consultation today. Schedule a consultation now. Call us now. Give directives and put a now or a today on it that's got a psychological trigger to it. You're going to get better response when you put those types of calls to action on your ads. And then I mentioned this before, but let me say this again. Video ads are going to drive more leads than any other ad you can have. And so if you will put video in, especially if it's a before and after or a walkthrough, number one, the algorithm at Meta prefers video. And when we talk about video, keep those videos 60 seconds or less. If you can keep them to 15 to 30 seconds, they're going to perform even better. But the algorithm is actually looking for video, and it will actually prefer video over still images. So what we'll do often in our ad campaigns is we will mix and match still imagery with video. So we may have 3 to 4 still images in the campaign and then 2 to 3 videos. And that's a good mix. Same ad copy or variation of ad copy, but we'll use a mixture of images and video so we don't burn the audience out, but we want that video to stop the scroll. And what we're finding today is most people will watch the video without the sound on. So we want that video to look good, good lighting. And I want you to notice in these are all high definition images. They're not poorly lit. There are no paint cans. There are no drop cloths. There are no tools laying around. It's good lighting, high definition video. So if you're going to do it right. But the great thing is your iPhone, your Google phones, your Galaxy phones, they all take stunning high definition imagery today. So all you have to do is just light it up, get some, even if you have to invest in a set of, $30 studio lights when you do it, it'll be worthwhile because you'll get a better final video for your ads and people will respond more to those. And so when we talk about video, here's some important things for you. Video ads get 38% more engagement than static images. And 65% of viewers of video will visit a website after watching a video ad. So video is a strong performer, and there's a compelling case for using video. Again, back to using video and some of those tips, showcase before and after, keep it short, 15 to 30 seconds is ideal. Use captions because most people watch without sound. And then here's a little bonus idea. Use a time-lapse video of a remodeling project. So a little high-speed animation will stop the scroll. Remember, stopping the scroll is the name of the game in social media. We've got to keep people from scrolling out of boredom. That's what we're trying to do. And so use video to your advantage. And then turn those views into leads. Yeah, one of the things that you have in lead generation is Meta has lead generation ad campaigns where you actually generate the lead on Meta itself. Now, let me talk about that for just a minute because there's 2 ways to really do lead generation ads with Meta. One is to use their on-platform lead generation ads. And I like these because they pre-populate with the user's information and it's a single swipe to submit. You can tie it into your CRM. For example, we use Go High Level. Ours is tied directly into our Go High Level. They swipe in and that lead lands in our Go High Level and goes straight into our follow-up sequence. Now, the key that I will tell you though, lead quality can be a little weak using the lead form ads unless you have some pre-screening questions. So I would put some pre-screening questions into your lead form ads. Ask about budget, ask about architectural plans, or any of those pre-screening things you might do. I would ask about 3 pre-screening questions in your lead form ads. It'll slow down your lead flow a little bit, but you will get a little better quality of lead. It's just been our findings is that if you don't have that, the lead quality can be a little sloppy on Meta. Now, one of the ways to also overcome that is to use landing pages of your own and send the traffic off of Meta's platform to your own landing pages that are optimized with clear calls to action. You'll get better lead quality doing that The caveat is, and here's the trade-off, you'll pay a little more per lead by doing that. You have to remember Meta would prefer to keep their users on platform because they can continue to collect data on those individuals and they can continue to advertise to them. It makes Facebook and Instagram more money to keep the user on the platform. But you can send them off through a lead ad to your own lead page. We do that quite a bit, and we actually have gotten to where if we really need to make sure we're getting good quality leads, that's actually our preferred strategy. We find that the lead quality does go up if we send them off-site to our own landing pages with clear calls to action, as opposed to using the lead forms. Now, if we're trying to just quickly build a list, if we're trying to very quickly just generate leads, then we will use the on-platform lead ads that Meta has, and those work well. Now, let me go back to something I said earlier. They have their AI approach. They have what are called custom tailored leads, their tailored lead program. Decline that. That's where the leads get even sloppier. They really have not perfected that yet. And so I would stay away from that. I would go through the extra steps of dialing in what it is you're looking for in leads by yourself. Now, to get great leads, you want to create offers that convert. And here's some of the time-tested steps to do that. Free consultations or estimates if that's your business model. And I realize that that is a hotly contested question within the remodeling industry. If your business model is you don't give free estimates, you charge for that, then don't offer that. But if that's something you want to do, or if you just need to really ramp up your lead flow, then that may be something you want to do. Downloadable remodeling guides or checklists. This is just a time-tested, lead generation, lead magnet. Guides and checklists work well. Just make sure it's compelling. So just if it's plain and boring, nobody's going to want it. But if you give a really good checklist, here's a money-saving checklist for your bathroom remodeling project. Here's the top 10 mistakes homeowners make. We don't want you to make these. That type of thing to avoid pain, people will download that all day long. Time-sensitive promotions like seasonal discounts can be good. And then here's your tip. Keep your lead form short. Name, email, and phone number. Now here's the secret for you. The less information you ask for, the more leads you are going to generate. The more information you ask for, the fewer leads you will generate, but here's the trade-off. The higher quality the leads will be. So you can decide if your lead quality is not as good as you would like, you can ask more questions. It will slow your lead volume down, but you will get a better quality of lead overall. So even in our screening process, we have a screening form that we send people through. It slows our lead flow down. Before we had that, we would book appointment after appointment after appointment, and the calendar was full. But we were not getting the lead quality we wanted. So we started pre-screening. Slowed our lead flow down, but we get a better quality of lead because of it. You have to decide what's more important to you at this stage in your business. Now, let's talk about retargeting, because this is one of the real golden nuggets of Meta ads. And what we want to do in retargeting is we want to bring interested homeowners back to us, because in a buying process, what we find is the average homeowner is going to interact with us anywhere from 7 to 12 times before they actually get into the formal conversation with us that is going to lead to doing business. And so we want to keep bringing them back to you through this buying process as they go through that funnel. And retargeting is the way we're going to do that. And here's how retargeting works. We re-engage users who visit your website or who interact with your ads, but they don't convert. And so when we retarget, there's specific ad types we want to use. Number one is testimonials from happy clients. So we want to show testimonials. We want to show case studies. We also might want to use what's called a "Did you forget to book your free consultation" ad that says, "Hey, saw you visited the website. Did you forget to schedule your consultation?" Or we might want to have special offers that we advertise specifically to past visitors and nobody else. And here's what we find is that retargeted ads are 70% more likely to convert. It'll just simply raise your conversion rates because you become inescapable. And you've all dealt with this. You go to Amazon, you look at a pair of tennis shoes, and for the next 2 weeks, tennis shoes follow you around. Same principle. We're just keeping with you through your buying journey and reminding you we're still here and we're still interested in being your remodeler of choice when you get ready to do this project. Now, we also want to be sure that we are tracking our success and then optimizing for performance as part of our tracking process. And so, as we're tracking, there's a couple of things we want to be looking at. First of all, we want to be looking at our ad performance. And the primary metric we want to look at is our click-through rate. So for the number of impressions we're getting, are we getting a sufficient number of clicks to the ad? Anything over 1% is good. Anything over 3% is outstanding. Then we want to look at our cost per lead. And of course, you need to look at cost per lead is what does it take for you to acquire a customer on average. So you need to be looking at what is the lifetime value of a customer and how much are you willing to spend to acquire a customer. And then you need to evaluate whether that cost per lead is where you want it. If it's too high, then you may need to rethink how that ad is structured or the targeting is structured. And then, of course, your return on ad spend. At the end of the day, if we're going to put a dollar out in advertising, we want to see multiple dollars coming back in revenue. And so, to measure effectiveness with your meta ads, you want to use the Meta Ads Manager to review your performance. And you can A/B test your headlines, your images, your calls to action to find out what is working best in the Meta Manager. So you can look and say, is this actually working for me? Is this performing the way I want it to? So really quickly, I'm going to go into our Meta Manager and just give you a quick walkthrough of what that looks like from a campaign perspective, just so you can see what you would be looking at as you're looking at campaigns. So I'm going to pull up ours here real quick, and I'll show you the key places you're going to want to be looking when you're evaluating your campaigns. Blow this up a little bit. So when you're running a campaign within Meta, the first drop down I would change is this one. And I would go make sure it's set to performance and clicks. And as you go across, you're going to see a couple of things that are going to be of interest to you, your results. And your results are going to be based on what was the objective you were trying to target. So for, this webinar, we were looking for event responses on the Facebook page. So we were tracking that. The one that's more of interest to you is our lead generation campaign. So we've generated 63 leads on this campaign so far this month. And then the next thing I would want to know is, well, what am I paying for those leads? I'm paying $5.55 per lead, which I'm happy with. That's a great cost per lead for me. And a couple of things that are also of interest to me is that ad has been in front of 4,551 individuals. and they've seen that ad about 2 times a piece. And then the metrics that I'm most interested in is my click-through rate is just over 3%. So out of those 4,000 people, uh, click-through rate's 3%. It's 238 total clicks to the ad. But here's the next one that I'm interested in. My click-through rate to the link to my landing page is 2.32%. And this is not a metric per se, but it's a stat that I pay attention to. Out of my 238 clicks to my ad, that generated 180 clicks to my landing page. So that does mean roughly 70% of the people that click my ad click off to my landing page. And so that is a metric I pay attention to. And out of that 180 people, a little over a third of those opt in and become leads. So I've got a strong performing ad there. I like that ad. I know that I'm landing leads for $5.55 a lead. I know that a third of the people who click my ad are going to, roughly a third are going to end up becoming leads. And I know 70% of the people that click the ad are at least going to go to the landing page. And if I wanted to start retargeting those people, I'm going to have a great audience to start retargeting if I use the pixel. So that's just the stats you're going to want to look at back here. More than anything is going to be this cost per click. So I'm paying $1.47 a click on the front end. My click-through rate, my total clicks, and even my cost per click to the landing page is only $1.94 per click. So I'm getting really good cost per click metrics on that. And those are the kinds of stats that you're going to want to look at as well as you go through your back office stats as well in your dashboard to figure out how well is your campaign performing. So let's jump back in here into the presentation. And let me get to back to full screen. There we go. And then some other things that you can do. You can, again, A/B test your headlines to see, does one headline perform better than another headline? Change out images, change out your calls to action. We will always run 6 variations of every ad that we run. So every campaign will use the same copy, but we'll change out 6 different images. From there, we'll use 6 different variations of ad copy. And we'll just work until we find the combination that performs best. And we'll run with that until we see that performance start to drop, and then we'll change it up again. So let me give you a success story here. And I've already shown one of their ads, but I'll tell you a little bit about them. So this is a company that's grown their business, and part of the backbone of growing their business has been meta ads. It's not the only thing that they do, but it is a key component of their ad strategy, and that's Wichita Homeworks. And we've had the privilege of working with them for about 10 years now. Right now, they land leads for about $20 per lead. They have a 5-time return on ad spend total. And I'm going to say, I want to preface that as total because they use our ecosystem principles. So they're running Google ads, they're running local service ads, and then they are also running meta ads. And on their meta ads, they're running awareness ads and they're running retargeting ads. So they're using both sides of the spectrum with Meta. So Meta is not the only piece that's running. They're running SEO. They're running the entire playbook. But on Meta, this is what they're using. They're using high quality video ads, geo-targeted campaigns, and then retargeting with testimonial videos. And that combination has worked well for them. When you put it all together, it allows them to average about a $20 cost per lead on average. Last year, they did about 6 million in revenue and had their most profitable year to date. And so it's been a very effective strategy for them. They put a lot of focus into high quality images and video, and they are well known for brand recognition, well known in the area for just dominating as far as community awareness because of the way they run their Facebook and Instagram advertising campaigns. So, with that, let me open it up for any questions. All right, doesn't look like we have any questions. So, next steps, if you need help putting together meta strategy for your company or developing your entire ecosystem and strategy, we'd love to visit with you. There are a couple of ways to get started with us. You can go to remodelingmarketingteam.com/, get hyphen started, or you can give us a call at 888-350-7859. And glad you've joined us today. Next month, we are going to tackle Google's new Performance Max ads, and that is their AI driven multi platform within the Google environment ad campaign structure. And so appreciate you joining us today and look forward to having you on next month's webinar. Take care.